in our journey towards building privacy compliance program for Indian businesses, let's talk about keeping the data secure. Something which is the most important thing in privacy, right? Collection, rules for collection, they are important, but security, equally important. In any case, any organization should take care of security even if you don't have privacy rules. So welcome to my YouTube channel where you daily see new content on data privacy. And as we just spoke about, we're going to talk about how to keep your data secure. While building this privacy compliance program for the Indian businesses, we spoke about what the program is, why this privacy compliance program is important. Why should Indian businesses worry about having a privacy compliance program? We also spoke about the relevance and importance of creating or forming a privacy team for your organization, the Indian businesses. We moved on and we talked about data mapping and monitoring. Organization should know what data they have. Just map it again, see what it is, and map it now with the idea that you are focusing on the personal information because we are talking about privacy and we are getting ready to take care of the Indian DPDP Act, which should get finalized with rules by April 2025. We also discussed about understanding each and every step of data processing. What processes are we using in the organization? How does the data move on? How is the data taken care of within the organization? And then we spoke about the privacy principles. I'll define the purpose properly. I'll collect only what is required for the purpose and for what the user is giving me the consent. I'll perform only that activity. We spoke about an example. I have the address, but the user has not given me the consent to send a courier on that address. Well, okay, then why do I need the address? So, with the principle of minimization, I can even avoid taking an address in that case because even if I have the address and I can't use it, then there's no point even keeping the address with me and increasing my risk, right? We spoke about the policies and notices, telling your internal team and the external principles about how the data is going to be used respectively. We spoke about the rights of the individuals given by the DPDP Act and vendor management. Then we talked about the grievance redressal system, the entire mechanism where a user can come and log his complaint. Now we'll talk about keeping the data secure, and many IT people would say that's very, very standard, right? We've been talking about CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And for ages, we have been talking about it. I'm sure we still will find gaps in many large enterprises also, right? But then you have to follow these principles because DPDP Act also wants you to keep the data secure. Right? We're talking about keeping the data secure only when we are talking about privacy. So confidentiality means the data is confidential. It is available only to the people who need it, who need to process it. And I've given this example many times in my videos. A banker calls up, asks your name, you confirm the name, then they cross-check the account number. You confirm the account number and then they come to know whether your interest is still pending or already paid. And after 3 such instances, I asked them, why did you call? And they said that that's extreme security we have. The dialer will dial a number and tell us that we have dialed the number and the person who should pick up the name, the phone, should have this name. If the name is correct, then you say, yes, verified. He cross-check the account number, ending last visit. If that is correct, then only we'll tell you how much of interest is due. And in many cases, because the interest was paid today morning, it has not got updated. But imagine, we are already into that secure phase, at least with our bankers. Access should be revoked the moment you find a suspicion or the moment an employee exits the organization. And I think around 6 months back, there was a case study where an ex-employee whose access was not revoked, looked in from outside, he knew the right way to get into the data center and blew off virtual machines. You need to be careful. They were virtual machines, but do they have personal data? Could be. In production, VMs would have a database would have data would be of your customers, your employees, choices of your customer, their banking details, their credit card details. There's a lot of personal data. He would have hacked and used it also, right? Integrity of the data. If he has hacked it, can he use it? Yes, he can. If it is in the raw form, he can easily do it, use it and tamper it for you. And in many cases, and we talked about an airline case earlier in one of my videos, they just kept on hacking tracking the data. In fact, we talk about a two large hotels merger where someone from outside was in the system through hacking mechanisms for 4 long years and captured the data of all the old new customers, including their credit card details, right? So you need to be careful. Keep it such that it is not readable even if someone gets into it. How do you do that? You do encryption, right? He steals the data, can't read it because it does not have the encryption. You do anonymization. He gets only a part of the data, it does not even know which two parts would merge to be given the actual data. And a lot of privacy enhancement techniques are available, also available as a video on my channel, which you can adopt, right? To make sure that the data that you have is very, very secure. And then you move on to the availability part of it. Data is available for use. It should not be that when I need the information, I don't get it. I went to the file server to locate a file, it was not there. Right? I went to the database to locate a particular record and I couldn't find even the database itself. Forget about the record. So the data has to be always available. If in case there's some corruption, some loss of data, that should be a temporary thing, not a permanent thing. Shouldn't be gone forever. So what should you do? You should have replicated copies or backup copies. Replicated copies, of course, can give you instant access, but even the backups can be restored and the data could be made available again. Simple. Make sure that the data that you have is very, very secure. Again, any cybersec person would say this is very standard. Still, hacks happen and breaches happen. So be careful about something which is very, very standard also. You should perform regular security audits, do vulnerability tests, do penetration tests. Keep your hardware and software updated, patches, scans, right? Keep identifying through these audits and assessments if there are any new security risks, and if they are, mitigate them at the earliest. At least document them so that you can find a mitigation solution and the risk is known to you. Fine. So that's about keeping the data secure forever for all kinds of data. And yes, because we are talking about privacy and DPDP Act, privacy, personal information, DPDP Act says it has to be secure. It has to be available. It cannot be compromised. Right? So that's about keeping data secure when it comes to personal data as well as any other form of data. I hope you like the content of the video. Please press the bell and the like icon, subscribe to my channel, and share your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.